Hello everyone, welcome to this video. I'll be talking about the Circle CI builds for the different build environments that are part of the blog post that we're working on, part 4 of the build automation blog post using Fastlane. And of particular interest will be 4 specific areas. The first one is a feature branch build, second is the pull request build, the third is the master branch build, and finally is the release branch build. So before I get into it, I'd just like to explain the branching model. So our main branch is the master branch. So think about it in terms of the master branch being the main trunk. And anytime we need to work on something, we branch off master into our feature branch, do the work that's expected, and then raise a pull request. After raising a pull request, we merge into master, and once we are ready to release, we cut a release of the master branch. So in a nutshell, that's the branching model that you need to keep in mind moving forward, even as we go with the video. So let's get into it. All right, so here we are in Android Studio, and the change we're going to make is to our accent color. So I'll just update that, and as you can see, the color actually updated. And the thing that you need to keep in mind is the branch you're working on. So in our case, this is our feature branch. It's called Fastlane Part 4. So I've made a change to this file and I'll need to commit it. So all I'll do is just press Command K to launch this particular view, and then just write the commit message here and then hit the commit button. Switch back to the terminal and do a git push to our particular branch. It's pushed this changes to the Git repository and also triggered the build. So when we switch here and navigate to Circle CI, we are running the 2 jobs, test unit and test instrumentation. And this is just for a feature branch build, in that we worked on the specific feature and decided just to push it to source control, which triggered the Circle CI build, just to make sure that everything works as expected. Right, when you click into the individual job, you will see the different tasks that are running, from spinning up the environment, restoring different caches, and downloading the different dependencies. And as you can see, currently it's the unit test job that's running. And this is the output, or rather the logs that are coming through for this particular job. All right, so the test unit job is successful, and once that happens, it switches over to the instrumentation test. And if we look into the instrumented test job running, if you look here, it tells us that it's running a default build on the Fastlane Part 4 branch, and that should be the case, because if you look through our shell script, this is not a pull request yet, the branch is not master, and it's not a release branch. So it would default to running this particular Fastlane command, which is what is happening as is being seen by the output here. All right, and when we switch to Firebase Test Lab, you can see our specific unit tests, or rather instrumentation tests, are being run in the test lab. And if I click in here, you will see that it's being run on the Nexus 6P device. As this is still in progress, it's not showing any of these results yet, but once it's done, you'll be able to see the updated results here. All right, so the instrumentation tests run successfully, and when I switch to Firebase, we'll be able to see our specific instrumentation tests that run. As you can see here, it ran 6 minutes ago, and if I click into it, yeah, you see that one passed, and those are the different test cases that run. All right, so this is good. It means our build is stable and is working as expected. That covers the first part, which was the feature branch build. Next, we'll go to pull request build. So what we're going to do is actually create a pull request and see the build run. All right, now that we're on GitHub, I'll just create a pull request. What I'll do is just give it a title and a simple comment, and then create the pull request. And as you notice, our base branch is master, so we create the pull request against master. So this PR contains code changes for part 4 of the blog post series. Cool, and I think we're good to go. So create pull request, and here we are. As you can see here, all the different comments for the work we've been doing on the part 4 request. As you can see, it's been a lot of work that I've been doing, but of interest is here. As you can see, all checks have passed. All right, so when I click here on show all checks, you can see that the unit tests and instrumentation tests had already passed. So this seems to be picking the checks from the feature branch that we had pushed earlier. So any other changes that we make to our feature branch will be triggered on this pull request build, and I can just make a simple change to show us that. All right, so we switch back to GitHub, and you can see that the changes that we push have triggered a build on the PR because we are on the pull request. And if I switch back here, you can see that this is the commit we just pushed, the PR test for the changes I made to the code base, and it has triggered the build. All right, so I did a bit of research, and it turns out that Circle CI doesn't run builds for pull requests. So when you raise or create a pull request, that doesn't trigger a build on Circle CI. But whenever you're making commits to different branches, that seems to trigger the build on Circle CI. So a workaround for the pull request builds would be once you've merged in, or rather once you've created a PR and you're still working on your branch, you can do a subsequent push to your feature branch, and it would reflect on the latest checks for your PR. So in this case, our Fastlane part 4 builds are what are reflecting as the pull request builds, as you can see here, and you can see both have passed for the test unit and test instrumentation. So I just thought I'd mention that to you because it's something I ran into, and I was just trying to figure out as I was going along with this video. All right, so the third part of this video is the master branch build. So to trigger the master branch build, we would need to merge our feature branch into master, and that's what we're going to do next. So I'll just click on merge pull request, and the one that I'd select is squash and merge. I'll just hit that, confirm squash. All right, so we've merged our feature branch into master, and if I switch over to the master branch, I believe our build must have been triggered, as you can see from this yellow dot. And if I switch back to Circle CI, you can see our build running. So as you can see right now, there are more jobs that have been triggered. So we have our unit test job, we have our instrumentation test job, we have a Slack deployment job, which deploys an APK to Slack, and we also have a Firebase app distribution job, which deploys our APK to the Firebase app distribution. All right, so I'll let this run for a bit, and once it's complete, I'll show you the successful deployments. All right, as we can see, the master build passed successfully, and the 4 jobs all successfully passed. The only difference with the feature build branch is that there are 2 extra jobs, the Slack deployment and Firebase app distribution. And I'll switch over to Firebase app distribution, and as you can see, the specific app was deployed. And if I switch to Slack, here is the APK, the release APK that's generated, and the report that comes through. Basically just information about the build, the branch that it's on, and the commit message, right? All right, so now what remains is the last part of this, which is the release branch build. And this is triggered when we cut a release branch from master, and then it'll deploy all the way to the Play Store. So that is what we're going to demonstrate in the next video. So let me just switch to our code base. I'll check out the master branch, and then I'll just update a few things. First thing will be the version name and the version code, and that's under our build.gradle. Current version code is 2, so we'll bump that up to 3, and our version name will be 1.0.3. I'll let that sync, and as it's syncing, I'll switch to the first file, and what we'll need to update is the Firebase app distribution release notes. All right, so the release notes can either be the text that's written here, or you can have a file. So in my case, I'll just leave it as the text here and probably update this later. So I'll just update the build number so it's easier to tell when the build comes through. All right, that's it. So having updated the version code and version name and also our release notes description, what I'll do is just commit this changes. Right, so I'll commit the changes. And then what I'm going to do is branch off git checkout -b, and then I'll call it release 1.0.3. And just to remind you from the config file, right? That is the pattern that it follows. So it's release dash and then you append the version that you're cutting. So in our case, it's 1.0.3. Now what we need to do is just do a git push and push to that specific release, and this should trigger our build on Circle CI. All right, so we've pushed our branch to GitHub and this should trigger the build. So if I switch over to Circle CI, you can see the release build is currently building, and there are 4 jobs. There's a test unit, test instrumentation, Play Store deployment, and Firebase app distribution. So I'll just let this run, and once the jobs are complete, I'll switch back here and just show you the successful deployment. As you can see, all 4 jobs have passed, and of particular interest are the Play Store deployment and Firebase app distribution. So if I switch over to Firebase app distribution, you can see that our particular build has come through with the release names 1.0.3 and the version code 3. And if we switch over to Play Console rather, if you look at app releases, we scroll to the bottom and you'll see on the internal test track, release 1.0.3 has been rolled out. And from here, you can decide to promote your build either to alpha, beta, or the production track once you see fit. All right, so if you've gotten to this part, congratulations. I know part 4 wasn't easy because this blog post had a lot of information and a lot of content. And feel free to go through it a second time just to ensure that you understand the different steps. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. See you in the next one.